Hi everybody, this is Ashish here, and in this module we will be studying about Vbscripting. Alright, Vbscripting is used in QTP and there is a specific reason why Vbscripting is used in QTP. Scripting, and if you talk about any scripting language, then it is a very powerful language and it is used for automating your applications. Alright, now VB is a language which only works on Windows because it's being made by Microsoft, and Windows obviously is again by Microsoft. So through VB you can actually interact with all the applications in your machine. That is, if you have got Windows installed in your machine, you can do anything with VB. You can open up any application, do anything with it. For example, I can open up Mozilla and I can navigate to any website and all, right? Similarly, QTP also uses VB so that it can interact with any Windows-based or desktop-based application. Fine. Now, VB can be executed as a standalone language as well. Like a VB program can be executed as a standalone program as well. For example, I just open a notepad. I don't need specifically QTP to execute VB code. I'll open Notepad and I will type the command message box hello world. Message box is the command in VB to print anything. If you want to print something, then use the command message box. Save this and save it as VB program.vbs. The extension to the VB files is always VBS, Vbscript files. So when you save this, I will save this on desktop, and this is my file VB program.vbs which has been made. If I double click on it, it executes and it prints hello world. Now this kind of message you must have seen many times on Windows. This message always comes from Vbscripting. Sometimes if a virus comes into your machine, this comes like this. So the viruses are also made in Vbscripting, right? It's a very, very powerful language, and QTP again uses Vbscripting. So QTP will also only work on Windows-based platforms, right? So I'll go to QTP and I'll write the same command here: message box hello world, and I'll run my code. I can run the script through the run button. Okay, hello world I have written in double quotes. Make sure that you also write it in double quotes. When you run this code, it actually goes and prints hello world. Fine, right? This is the same output with the output which we got through the file, the standalone Windows file which I made just now. So in order to print something, you have to give the command hello world, and as you see in QTP, the font of message box is a little bit dark blue in color, right? So whatever is dark blue in color, it is a Vbscript command. Okay. For example, later on we will see commands like set. It also is blue in color. We will see commands like input box. Don't worry what these commands do, but these are Vbscript commands. They will become blue in color. Okay, so if I don't put double quotes in hello world, then it no longer remains a string, and if I run the code, I'll not get an error, but I'll get an error, and that error will say message box hello world. It's not able to continue due to a syntax error. Okay. However, if I remove the space, like I give a single word hello world and I run this, I get a blank window. Okay, so make sure you always give double quotes. It helps you to run your program successfully without any error messages or something, right? So out here, I'll keep it like this. So if you are giving some constant value which you want to be printed as it is on the screen, you need to give it under double quotes. Now I'll talk about variables and all. In general, in all the programming languages, we have got variables like we have an input box. So sorry, we have. We have an integer. We have strings. We have decimal numbers. Then we have boolean and all. So all of these are also present in Vbscripting. If you put a single quote in front of a line in Vbscripting, then that line becomes a comment. Comment means that that line becomes inactive. Okay, you just put a single quote in front of the line, that line becomes inactive. Or you select the line and click on this icon on the top, comment block. The shortcut is Ctrl, and if I click on this again, the line becomes inactive. QTP will ignore this line while executing the code. Fine. Now if I write out here, suppose a equals to 100, then what am I doing? I am assigning the value 100 to a. This is very simple out here in QTP. You don't have to declare int a equals to this, string x equals to this, like we do in other programming languages. Fine. So if you simply write a equals to 100, 100 goes inside a, and on the next line you can simply write message box a. Right? Similarly, I can write b equals to 200 and I can write message box b. Right? So when you run this code, it will first print hello world, then it will print the value of a, which is 100, then value of b, which is 200. Fine. Now suppose if I give the value of a as we are learning. So this becomes a string. Whatever you give in double quotes becomes a string, and yes, in QTP you can work like this. On line number 5 I have assigned the integer value to a. On line number 10 I am assigning a string value to a. You can work like this. And again I will give the same command on line number 11, message box a, which will print we are learning. Okay. Now some people, what they do is they do a biggest mistake called like instead of, look, I have written hello world in double quotes out here, but a, b I have not written in double quotes because I want to print the value inside a. What people do, they put a in double quotes. If I put a and b in double quotes over here, then they will be printed as they are. Suppose I run this code, it will print hello world, then it will print a. It will not print the value present inside a. So make sure you don't do this mistake. Fine. This causes a lot of errors. See, now it's printing we are learning. Fine. So you don't give a and b in double quotes. If I write message box a plus b, and I run this code, it will print 100, 200, and then it will print 300. It will add both of them, and then it will print we are learning. Right? So message box is the command which can print something, which can be used to print something in Vbscript. Okay, it can give you the output. And if we have variables like a and b, you don't need to give the variables in double quotes in order to use the values of the variables. Right? Now, you know what, this message box command, it makes the script stop. Suppose if I run this, then hello world gets printed and the script has stopped. Now basically when you are doing automation, you are running many test cases, you want to print something as well, you would never like the script to stop like this. Because then what's the usage of automation? Because you have to manually click on OK and then make it run further. Right? So you need something different from a message box practically when working with QTP. you will need something different than message box. If you are not able to understand this point, then hold on, wait for some modules to get over, you will get to know this. That is, I don't want a window like this to disturb me every time so that I manually click on OK button. Right? So what we do is, we use another command instead of message box, that is known as a print command. Okay, suppose I give a variable called c equals to 49.45, which is decimal. Okay, and instead of using message box, I'll write print c. So c is a variable over here. C is known as a variable because the value can change. I can change the value of c to some other thing in the next line, like the way I change the value of a. And instead of using message box, I am using the print command over here, right? You see, the color of print is not dark blue, it's not coming from VB. It is something which is internal in QTP. It is something which has been made by people who made QTP. Okay, so print, now what will it do? Suppose what I will do is, I will run my script from the line number 15. From the line number 15, I will be executing the script. Now, this is the major advantage of using QTP. That is, if you want to execute the script from any particular line, you can do that. If I click on the run button, then the script starts from the very beginning. I don't want that. I want to execute the script from a particular line. This is because sometimes you are actually facing a scenario in which, like, you write a test case, you write a big Vbscript file, and you write up and down 1,000 lines in it, but you actually want the script to run from a particular line. For time being, just understand the thing that there are scenarios in which you would like to run the script from a particular line. We will discuss those scenarios in the coming modules, right? But I'll tell you how to run the script from a particular line. I don't want to execute these lines, I want to start it from line number 15. So I'll right click on line number 15 and select the option run from step. So if I select this, then this will execute from this particular line. See that? 16.27. It prints the updated value, and this is the print dialog box. It will keep on printing something, but the script will not stop. I can also write over here print, say QTP is a wise tool, and I'll right click on line number 14 and I'll again run from step. So it will keep on printing. You see that it printed both the values, but the script never stopped. So this kind of log is very important rather than going like this with message box, because message box stops the script and we basically don't want to stop our script. Alright, so we will, like, while working practically, I prefer not to use message box. Okay, I use it at times, but I prefer not to use. That's a personal choice. I prefer using the print command, which is a part of QTP. I cannot just copy these 4 lines. If I copy these 4 lines, pasted in this notepad, I will get an error while executing the Vbscript, because it will not be able to understand what print is. When you run this, see that on line number 3, you see that when you run it like this, when you run the Vbscript like this, it tells you the line number on which the error is coming. It is the line number 3 on which basically the error is coming. Fine. So better be careful when using VBS files for executing QTP scripts. You can do that. Okay, I will talk about it later on. Fine. So this is about basic variables. You can assign a variable 100 value, or you can assign it some other value as well. Message box is the command to print something. Print is again the command. There is potential difference between both of them. To print the value of a variable, make sure you don't give it in double quotes. Right? So now, what if I want to take the input from a user? In VB, what if I want to take the input from a user? For that, we have something known as an input box. message box is for printing. This is to print the output. But if you want to get the output from the user, you can use input box. See, I will write input box and I'll hit a space. This is very important in VB. If you hit a space, you will get the prompt, or you get a small yellow bar which will suggest what is the syntax of this command. Okay, what is the syntax of this command? So out here we have the first parameter as prompt. All the other parameters are optional in this command, so you don't need to give them. So what I'll do is I'll just give the first parameter, that is enter a number. I'll write like this. Right. So when I run this from line number 21, right click on line number 21, run from step. This will present me with this output. Out here enter a number would be written. Okay. Now suppose I put a comma. The second option is title. See, it gets highlighted. Okay, it is optional, it's not mandatory. You can give the title as, say, number application. Okay, I run from line number 21 and I get the window like this. In this window, on the top of this window, number application is written. This is the title of this window. So suppose I enter 23 and I click on OK, this program will proceed further. In order to take the value, what I have written out there, I can write something like this. N equals to input box. You put a bracket here, round brackets. Okay, you have to put those. I'll tell you the reason behind that. Okay, I'll tell you the reason behind that why these brackets are used later on when we study functions. Right, so you put a bracket and write n equals to this. So what will happen is whatever number I fill it in the input box, it will be caught in n, and I will simply write print n over here. Right, so when I run from line number 21, I'll enter the number as 439. Right, and I click on OK. And I have this print box in which 439 gets written. Fine, it's because of the print, this command print, and it gets written over there. So input box is the command which can take any input from a user. Right, so we studied message box, print, input box, and some variables. Right, now we'll study the concatenation operator. What is a concatenation operator? For example, I want the output like the value entered by the user is and the value of n. So I'll write print value. Why am I giving it in double quotes? Because I want this thing to be printed as it is. The value entered by the user is ampersand n. Okay, ampersand n. Ampersand is the concatenation operator. Right, this operator will concatenate this string. This is a string. Whatever you give in double quotes will be printed just like that, and along with it I want to join the value of n, which is a variable. If I simply write like this, the value entered by user is n, which most of the people do, and I run the code from line number 21, I enter the number as 111, it will simply print the value entered by user is n. It's not printing the value of n. In order to print the value of n, you need to put the n outside the double quotes and concatenate it with the string. This is a constant, this is a variable. Now when I run this from line number 21, run from step, see it prints that the value entered by user is nothing because I just clicked on the OK button. Now I'll just run it again. and enter the number as 61, right? I click on OK and this prints value entered by user is 61. Okay, right? So this is a very easy example wherein you use input box to take the input from the application. However, the usage of input box, we don't use input box so much in QTP. Sometimes while debugging the script, we might use input box. If you don't know what debugging is, just hold on, you will get to know in some time. Right? But under very rare scenarios, I end up using input box. Right? Otherwise, I prefer the print statement and all. Right? So these are some of the commands which you need to know. Okay, so the ampersand operator, this is very important. Sometimes some people try to give the plus operator. Don't give this operator in VB. This is for other languages. In VB, ampersand is the operator. For example, I have got two variables. Say x equals to 100 and y equals to 200. And I want to print x and y together, that is 100 to 100. Then if I write print x plus y, this will add both of them. When you run this will print 300. This will not print 100 and 200. So in order to print them together, I'll have to write x ampersand y. That is, join the value of x and y. When you run this from this step, it will print 100 to 100. Alright, so ampersand is the operator which we use frequently to concatenate. Okay, now another thing is, if I have got big strings associated with the test. For example, suppose I have a string called mail message. This message holds the content of your mail. Suppose you are writing some mail to somebody, forget about QTP for some time, forget about everything. I'll just put a big text. I want to put a big text in this string, that is, hello David, I'm fine, how are you, and blah 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 blah. This text continues. So I don't want that when I write this, okay, this string should keep on moving and it should extend the screen and all, so it becomes very difficult for me. What I would want to do is I want to move to a new line, okay, and I want to print the rest of the text. I'm fine, or how's it going, something like this, right? But the string is only valid in one line. You cannot take it to the second line. Okay, so these type of scenarios you face in QTP, you face while working practically with it. Out here, you have to use something like this. You have to close this string over here in this line, put an operator like ampersand underscore, and then write the next thing in the next line, write the next message in the next line. If you feel that you need to move to the new line again, put ampersand underscore and then write the next string, that is regards or something like that. Okay, so when you run this, if I write over here print mail message and print this string, when you run from line number 32, or I'll use the message box command. Okay, let's use the message box. Just like that, okay, no particular reason. Okay, run from line number 32, run from step. So this will print this. See, it never prints in the new line. Don't feel that this will print the content in the new line. This will not print the content in the new line, but only thing is you can manage big strings with the help of ampersand underscore operator. Okay, so this way you can move from one line to another if you have a big string to handle. Right, now what if I want this thing to be printed in a new line every time? Okay, I want it to be printed in a new line. I want that first line should be hello David, I'm fine. Second line should be how is it going, and third should be regards, right? So how do I do this? Now suppose I'll take an example like say temp equals to there is a cat, right? And I full stop. What I basically want to tell you is that you will find scenarios where you would want that if I write over here message box temp, hold on, I'll tell you. Yeah, so if I run it from line number 40, so you would get an output like there is a cat, there is a bird. Fine. Sometimes you feel the need that there is a cat should be printed, but there is a bird should be printed in the next line. So you want to break the line. So for that, in VB, the operator is, you simply have to write, close the double quotes here, open, and in between put the ampersand, concatenate it with the command Vbscript. So Vbscript is the command in VB which will break the line. It will print this, then break the line, and then print this. So if I run from line number 40, it will print there is a cat, and after that it will print there is a bird. Okay. Similarly, if I want to do the same thing with this mail message, right? I want to, so this is about breaking line. If I want to do the same thing with this, I'll not amend this, I'll actually copy paste the same string again, and I will use the command ampersand Vbscript, then ampersand underscore, meaning I want to move the string in my editor in the new line. Okay, Vbscript will move the string in the message box to the new line. Alright, and I'll give this statement out here as well. So when I run it from the line number 41, it will see, I'll get the output like this. Okay, so this is how you break lines in VB scripting. Okay, so Vbscript is the command, and ampersand underscore is for making sure that you are able to write the big strings in a visible text of the editor. Otherwise, I would have to use the scroll bar, and I would have to like put the string completely till the end of this editor like this. If you don't want to do it, you simply use the command ampersand underscore, and Vbscript is for new line, right? So now I'm going to just save this script, and I'll name it Vbscript. So you will also be able to download these scripts, okay, and you will have the download link if you have attended the training, or if you have bought the videos from me. Then you can just download these scripts. You can contact me, or you can find the link on the website. I'll give you the links to download. Alright, so now we'll study about a command known as option explicit in VB. Right, so let's study about that command.